Dan, looks are deceiving outside today.
Oh, are they ever?
Yeah, we have a beautiful blue sky, a bright yellow sun that I haven't seen in a while. But man, is it cold.
Oh, well, if you think this is cold down here in Ohio, let me tell you, I came from cold in Wisconsin, which is like twice as cold as what you're used to.
Yeah, you got that right. you had told me the other day it was like minus 17 degrees, and I think we were in the 50s that day. So.
Yeah. Yes. And the feels like was 30 below.
Well, cold and temperature is relative, I think, sometimes. I mean, like a 30-degree day in February feels a lot better than 30 degrees in October.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm just glad to see the sun. I don't think I saw the sun most of January.
I agree. I think it would be important to drink your vitamin D milk and try to avoid any type of deficiencies from the lack of sun. Dan and I happen to notice something different here today too, sitting across from us at the table here.
Yeah, we are fortunate enough to have another guest join us here on the Woodhounds podcast.
Another guest, and she happens to be the inventor and the owner and the janitor and the accountant and the human resource officer of Chain Locker USA. Everyone, I'd like to introduce you to Kelllee Miller. Kelllee, say hello.
Hi, guys. Thank you.
I think, Dan, this is one of the other benefits of social media and having the world's greatest firewood podcast in the world. We get to meet some very interesting people with some very interesting stories in our industry, like Kelllee Miller.
Yes, indeed. Very great to meet you, Kelllee. And I must say the chain locker, from what I've seen, is definitely one of those things that a woodhound would consider a game changer.
So we've heard that from a lot of folks. I got to tell you, when I say we, I've got to give credit where credit's due. I am one of the owners. My other half, Scott Miller, has been along for the ride every inch of the way. In fact, this game-changing idea came from we literally say the idea was born in the backwoods of Kentucky. Both of us traveling to the back of the farm and cutting firewood, cleaning up fences, and my brain, in full transparency, this brain never stops. I mean, and I think I annoy the heck out of him, to be honest, but it was like, okay, well, this week we're going to try coffee cans. Next, for our chains, right? Next week it's Ziploc bags, and one week it's shoe boxes, and then all of a sudden you're out in the woods and you hit a rock or you hit a fence and you're changing your Ziploc bag that once said sharp is now holding a doll. I mean, it's just been one thing after another. And eventually it became the idea of there's got to be a better idea.
When I first saw the chain locker, and I had first met Kelllee about probably a year and a half ago, and I had shown the chain locker on my channel, and wow, were they received greatly. People love them. And I really do think, Kelllee, that this is one of these inventions that when you first see it, you think, why didn't anyone ever think of this before?
Yeah, so thank you. We actually get a variety. We definitely hear that a lot. Like it's like the very first time we were at the last year, it was called GIE in 2021, the GIE Expo. And we had a guy say that it's so simple, it's stupid, but it's brilliant. And but our very first one that came out was just the one that went up to the 20 inches. My husband and I self-funded the initial launch of this, and we wanted to make sure it was going to be an idea that actually stuck, and it did. But it's interesting, Joe. We are here, how brilliant it is. And then there's people the chain locker may not be for, right? Like they're, on social media, we hear, hang it on a wall. Well, we hear you. You're probably one chainsaw, person. Maybe for whatever you've got a garage and a yard you're taking care of, but this is an on the go solution. And we have been blown away by the lawn care industry and how much they've told us how much money they're saving, because all the chain lockers or the majority of them are in bright colors, and that they are not losing chains on site again and again, or they're not getting thrown in the back of the truck to rust.
Yep.
So if you are just tuning in, everyone, we are sitting here with Kelllee Miller of Chain Locker USA. And if I could describe the chain locker, and some people out there may not even know what it is a longish plastic or vinyl container that has compartments in it that you can store any length of chain. And when it was first brought out, it was about a 24-inch bar was about the maximum length of chain that could go in it. But Kelllee, you were bombarded with requests from possible consumers that, where a lot of people have an interest in this are the guys that are and gals that are going out into the woods with big bars and chains, and they needed something that it could fit into that as well.
Yeah, so the original chain locker went up to 20-inch chains. So any manufacturer, any pitch, any drive length, because as you know, there's not just one 20-inch chain, which it's interesting how much we've learned about chains during this process. But back then, the number one complaint, for lack of a better word, was, why is it for baby chains? Why did you make one for baby chains? So in November, after a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of, can I say, possibly some beer drinking opportunities at the kitchen table, as actually tested all the harvesters, anything up to 0.404, and now we've got the Pro Series. And the Pro Series actually has two sides, and it's got the two tabs on the end that allow you to loop. And so what's great about the Pro Series is, you can put 6 36-inch chains if they're the 0.404s, for instance.
Wow.
Yeah, so it'll hold, or 6 42-inch, 6 48-inch. I actually have an image of me wrapping a 60-inch chain. That was fun in it because of the dual wrap design. But then the Pro Series is also great because you can literally use 20, they're versatile. You can put different size chains in both of the chain lockers, the original as well as the Pro Series.
Yeah, you can
simple.
Yeah, you can kind of wrap it around and make it fit and stay in there securely and all that.
Yeah.
I like the idea of, because I'm one of those people where if I'm out bucking some logs up or working out in the wood yard and I get to the point where I know my chain needs a little edge put back on it, I usually just will stop for the day then, because I don't want to take the time to hand file it right there. But if, having the ability to change out the chain and have a nice organized compartment where I don't have to spend 5 minutes trying to untangle a chain that's gotten bent over each, it's like chainsaw chains don't just lay out flat and stay that way. If you put them in, like you said, a bag or something, they get bent around, and it's always a challenge to untangle them. So that's the thing I would think would be a huge advantage, to be able to open up a case, pull out a chain, and it's already unraveled and ready to go.
Yep. Well, and I'll tell you, like a lot of our dealers, and so when I say dealers, we're now in 4 distributors in the United States. We've got a lot of dealers, storefronts, and here it's interesting when we get contacted by a new dealer, like, my customer just brought me his chains in a chain locker, and oh my gosh, it's brilliant. And then, we now don't have to pay labor to untangle them, straighten them out. And I mean, we're hearing all kinds of benefits that we, fundamentally know exist, but now we're hearing them unsolicited from the dealers.
So Kelllee, tell us, how did the chain locker come about? Was it a eureka moment? When did you decide that this was something that you guys could make? And then, that you were able to put into production and market and sell?
Well, it's a fun story. So literally, we've had the idea for about a decade, actually longer than a decade now. And in March, the first week of March of 2020, now you put your pandemic hat on.
There you go.
I get home from a business trip from my day job, and 2 days, by the way, trying to get home because I was getting stuck in airports and all this stuff about COVID and what is it. But I get home, and it was a couple days later, and Scott had been nudging me for a couple of years, like, when are we going to do something with this idea? When are we going to do something with this idea? And it was the following week in March, and Scott said, let's do something. So I literally started making phone calls, literally to an attorney, and said, we want to start a business. How do we do that? That's literally not a joke. And then it was, okay, we've got the business started. We need to speak with a plastic manufacturer. We didn't know anything what we were doing at that point. And it's a plastic manufacturer that can make plastic for items that can hold up against gasoline, because we knew it needed to hold up against gasoline. And so from there is literally how it started. We ended up getting in touch with a great group of guys out of Indiana. And they helped us every step of the way. We were working, of course, with the attorneys on the different patent ideas, and we had a couple ideas, but we also knew I have enough retail experience in my day job that you can't have a chain locker for every single size chain, right? It has to be universal. The most you're going to get is 1 or 2 spots at retail, and they helped us through it. And the rest is history.
So do you find, you had mentioned that you were getting into 4 retailers. Where is Chain Locker available mostly online, or is it purchased like from a retailer in stores?
So and forgive me if I misspoke. We're actually in 4 distributors.
Distributors.
Who,
okay. Sorry. Yep.
Yeah. Who of course, offer products and through the supply chain for your Still and Husqvarna dealers of the world, your outdoor power equipment. In fact, we actually met, that's how I met Joe, was actually through our very first dealer that we got into back in December of 21, actually. So, but yeah, so we're into distributors. And then to answer your question, we do sell product on Amazon. We also sell it on Chain Locker USA. But our heart is definitely trying to support the dealers. We consider brick and mortar the heartbeat of America, especially with your Still owners, your Echo, your Husqvarna, your Arborist. I mean, these guys are taking their chains in, these lawn care guys, and so all of our pricing, I know it's obviously everybody questions the price. Our price is reflective of what dealers have to sell it at to make a margin. And we have to protect the brick and mortar.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think just the other advantage to that is just seeing it and holding it and seeing what it can really do. I think that's a huge advantage, to be able to pick something up, open it up, and then get the concept of what's going on. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, my chains fit right in here. And yeah, I like that too.
And it's interesting. Some of the business owners, I mean, they're going in, we're hearing, if a business owner sees the opportunity, sees the organization, sees that they can load their trucks up, right, with sharp chains and have a dull compartment and keep things, because a lot of people use Sharpies and write on the outside what they are. We've got a lot of these business owners going in and buying 4, 6, 8 at a time and different colors. So high vis orange and high vis yellow are our 2 most popular colors for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm. So Kellee, is the Chain Locker, it is produced and marketed here in the United States. Is that right?
Indeed. So we are a Kentucky-owned business, and it is manufactured and hand-assembled in Indiana, just across from Louisville.
Oh, wow. Do you have employees?
Well, my daddy always says, if you want customer service, call Kellee. If you want accounting, call Kellee. If you want, like, literally, that's his joke. So,
I love
although
it.
we've hired him, we call him the eBay sheriff because he'll get on and say somebody's selling it on eBay for $70, and we laugh. We're like, well, he's like constantly watching everything. So,
Yeah.
but no, to answer your question, we do not have employees.
Well, that is the old saying is, you work here, your job title is you work from that wall to that wall. And
Yeah.
everything and anything is your job. But that is exciting though, because you are a nationwide product. You're still gaining popularity, and you're still. I mean, that's something that a lot of people can relate to. That you are still a mom and pop kind of a operation, and you guys really have caught lightning in a bottle with the chain locker.
Well, thank you. I mean, we both, we haven't given up our full-time jobs. We work 7 days a week, and literally, and the majority of our evenings, as soon as we're done with dinner, we sit down and we start working on chain locker. I would tell you that we are not entrepreneurs. We're not risk takers. But then I'm always reminding myself, here we are. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now,
you said you are from Kentucky, and did I hear earlier you said are you a farmer? Are you a farm girl?
So when I say our farm, my husband and I actually met in the woods, literally turkey hunting,
Oh wow.
over 20 years ago. And we have bought a farm in order to continue enjoying the outdoors. So if we're not working, if we're not cutting wood, we're hunting for morels, we're hunting anything you can imagine, riding tubes down the creek, letting our neighbors know how crazy we are. And so it's not a producing farm, but it's definitely an active farm.
You mentioned earlier that just kind of how the idea came about. So were you like, do you cut firewood, burn firewood? Is that how, your use of chainsaw was mostly with firewood, or was it, I know you mentioned like maintaining fences and, so was it firewood, or what, is that kind of like part of your background as well?
So again, I guess I'm not afraid to talk, so I'll tell you the whole 9 yards. So yes, we do. When we first bought our first farm, we thought, gosh, this is a great opportunity. I mean, we don't cut down anything that's living, of course, unless it's trail maintenance. But when there's a dead or, fallen tree, we take advantage of it. We probably burn 8 to 10 truckloads a year, because once we start in October, we typically burn all the way through March, April,
Yep.
24 hours a day. And back in the day when I was, air quotes, allowed to have my first chainsaw, it was a little 16-inch. And then I was allowed to graduate to an 18-inch. And then, and this is kind of how the chain locker came, to life, is then my husband has a different type of an 18-inch. And then we needed a pole saw. That was a 14-inch. And then we needed a 28-inch. That one, it's like holding on to a daggone motorcycle. And all of a sudden, like, we're headed to the back of our property with a tractor, the front, the bucket, and all the equipment and chainsaw buckets in the back of the Polaris. And again, then it was like, where in the world are our chains? And I would say there's been 1 or 2 times that bickering would occur back in the back of the farm, like looking for your chain.
Did you bring the extra chains? No, you did. What? No, I didn't bring them. You were going to bring them.
or Scott would be like, why is your dull chain in my sharp baggie?
Oh, yes.
Let's talk about your marketing. Okay, so you obviously have been on YouTube, and where else are you? You're on social media or in magazine articles or advertisements in print.
Yeah, so it has been an evolution, if you will, on marketing. So it's been we first just started with a Facebook page and an Instagram account, and as far as marketing, any of the videos that you have seen have been me on a step stool standing above Scott's hands. and then leaning on hours and hours of me Googling how to edit videos. And actually, we got lucky and reached out to one of my son's friends, and he helped edit one. But that's really been the extent of it. We've done some stuff with you. We've partnered with the Rice brothers. They are a great group of boys in dirt racing here locally. I always say they throw the dirt just like we do, and they've got good old fashioned work ethic and grit. So it was a great partnership there. Then this year we are expanding into some partnerships to get additional online advertising and newsletters, get into some forums. So we're going to expand because we want to continue growing that awareness so we can create pull from the dealers that we're in.
Yeah. How many states have you sold chain lockers to?
All 50.
No kidding. Way to
Nice.
go.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And have you sold any internationally?
We have indeed. So our patents, in fact, have cleared in Canada. We've got a good distributor partnership in Canada. We have sold to Germany, the Netherlands, England. We've got great partners in Australia, so it's definitely growing. I think one of our big growth opportunities is figuring out how to get a distributor that can help us out internationally.
Well, if you want to sell any in South Korea, Dan, maybe you could put them on your channel, because that's for whatever reason, that's Dan's most popular country.
I actually my analytics switched this past month to my number 2 top country is Russia.
Russia.
Yes.
All right, Dan, you're just Mr. International.
Yes. But so if someone wanted to get their hands on a chain locker, do you have like a store locator or a distributor or a list that they can put in their zip code and see where it's sold? Or is it, if someone's sitting at home right now listening to this and they wanted to get a chain locker, what's the best route they would go?
So that is a missed opportunity for us right now, and we realize it. I have to figure out how to do a store locator on our website. We're not there yet. My ask would be that they first ask their local dealers, because we first want them to sell. And this is no secret. Our distributors know that as well. And if that's not a case, they can ask for it. Of course, dealers can reach out to us at Chain Locker USA. At info@chainlockerusa will be the easiest to remember. But and then we can get dealers set up. We'll point them to distributors. In addition, they of course can always purchase it from Amazon or chainlockerusa.com.
Have you ever attended a trade show? Like here in Ohio, we have one called the Paul Bunyan Show. And, where manufacturers and dealers will set up a booth, and that's a way to, engage with the consumer. Have you ever tried anything like that?
So yes, we've just done the Equipment Expo so far. That's the only one we've attended. And it was interesting. This year was our first year that we had product live to sell. And I cannot tell you how many people said, you guys are the most popular booth here. And we're like this little 10-foot by 10-foot booth with a homemade backdrop that one of our dear friends made for us, and deer skins draped over the back. It was like totally, and like people flying around with these things. But Joe, it's interesting that you say that, because how many people have asked us to go to the Paul Bunyan Show? So I think I probably need to roll my sleeves up and figure out when that is and how I pull that off.
The first weekend of October. Every year it's the first weekend of October. And it's become like the gathering point of, not only people interested in equipment and chainsaws, but now there's kind of like the secondary phenomenon going on where people come just to meet like people from YouTube channels or like social media. So a lot of social media people get together at these shows as well. So it's really
Yeah.
it's a good time.
Well, I go there for free food. I'm always looking for someone to buy me a sandwich. They got some good food there. Come on.
Well, and it's interesting, not just the outdoor and firewood and lumber industry, but I got to tell you, the number of fire departments that are reaching out. So we also know that that's an untapped market. We've had chiefs call us up and say, when we have an issue with when we're on scene, I need to know exactly where my spare chains are. And it's been interesting how much, how the chain locker is providing a solution for industries we didn't even think about.
Yeah. It sounds to me, Kellee, that the sky is the limit. And, do you have a vision or a long-term plan? Where do you see the chain locker and where do you see Kelllee and Scott Miller in, let's say, 5 years?
So that's a loaded question. I think that there's a lot of different avenues. I think that we will continue to look for additional products to launch. We've got a couple ideas, so I could see the product line growing. And will we be fully employed by Chain Locker? Then would be my aspiration.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I think I'm not just thinking it, but I'm rooting for you because I see that as, I'm serious. I think you've hit a home run with the chain locker, and I think the sky is the limit.
Thank you. Thank you. It's something we are very passionate about. I can talk about it all day long.
Oh, wow.
It is great though. It's like, and even to your point about like different application and uses for it. Like, I know I had mentioned how it would, be a benefit to like take it out with me to the wood yard, but then also just storing your chains, in your garage or wherever you put them. You had mentioned like the nail on the wall. Yes, obviously that people use just a nail on the wall, but then when you want to take those to say maybe go get sharpened, you'd have to gather them all up and put them in something. Where if you walk into your dealer with a chain locker and here's your chains to sharpen, I mean, yeah, they're going to say, "Wow, what is this?"
Yeah. Yeah, and I know one guy kind of giggled at me, but I keep my chain locker. I've got like a paper towel in the bottom of it with a little bit of chain oil that I actually stack all my chains on, just to kind of keep that moisture barrier. And it's got the oil in the box because the last thing you want is if you keep, we always keep a chainsaw in the back of the truck with a chain locker for when we're on the go back down to our farm, which is an hour from here. And the last thing you want is you want to be able to just get what you need and have it readily available. Absolutely.
Kelllee, you had mentioned that your Pro Series, which just came out now, can hold up to 6 chains at once. Is that right?
Well, that's a loaded question. No pun intended. So if, everybody's chainsaw collection is so unique. If you were to ask me very specifically, how many 36-inch chains with a .404 pitch will fit into a Pro Series, I'll tell you it's 6. If you just, but we've got a lot of customers, even on social media, right? They'll just reach out, whether it's through message or on the post. Hey, how many chains fits in a chain locker? Well, number one, which one are you talking about, the original or the Pro Series? But then I need to know more about your saw collection. What we have learned is everybody's saw collection is so unique. Just like Scott and I, we've got 5-6 saws, and they're all different sizes. So whether you're talking that you are, the .25 pitch, the 3/8 pitch, a .404 pitch, all of those, of course, will determine the how many will fit, with the depth. But on the same token, on the Pro Series, if you want to fit a .404 36-inch, but then you also have a 10-inch saw that you keep for your, or 12-inch for your pole saw, well, you could actually include that in it as well, right? On just
Nice.
as
Okay.
number of tabs. So every one of them are so unique. What we say is the minimum number of chains that a 20-inch, well, our original chain locker will hold, the minimum is 8. And it can go up from there depending how you want to store them. But that's the minimum. And then on a Pro Series, the minimum is 6, but that's of a 0.404. The minimum would be 8 as well, absolute bare bones, if it were, the 3/8 inch. So.
Yeah. Well, I have a steel 500i, so my saw collection is 1. That's the only saw I need. No.
Yeah. Well, I want to remind everyone that we are sitting here talking with Kelllee Miller. Kelllee is the inventor and the owner, well, co-inventor, co-owner of the Chain Locker USA. She's from Northern Kentucky. And Kelllee, I'm very impressed with you. You're very professional. And tell us a little bit about your background. You had said that you have a retail background, but did you go to college, or tell us what got you to where you are now?
So let's see. Well, my background is, several people have said I've got a jack of all trades, but first and foremost, I am a tomboy. There's no joking about that. When I was little, my mom couldn't get me in the kitchen, but my dad could get me outside stacking the firewood. And I would rather be playing in dirt than anything else, that's for sure. But I do indeed. I actually, my senior year in high school, I had the opportunity. I lived in Spain for a year. I was an exchange student.
Oh, wow.
And
Muy
when
bien.
I came back, I actually went for my undergrad and was going to be a secondary education teacher with Spanish, right, as the focus. And fast forwarded past that, I realized teaching wasn't for me. Ended up working at a candy factory, got my master's degree, and now I work for a produce company, 30 years in the marketing field.
Oh, wow. What colleges did you attend, your bachelor's and master's?
Yeah, so I first went to Morehead State University, then I went on to Northern Kentucky University, and then my master's is from Thomas More College.
Go Eagles. Morehead State.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's really good. How about Scott? Could you give us a quick background on Scott?
Absolutely. So Scott has been a field engineer for a company now for 36 years, maybe 35 years. So he has enjoyed the fruits of one employer all these years. He's also a taxidermist, and literally not because I'm married to him, but because I mean this from the bottom of my heart, he's one of the best you'll ever meet. It's a true skill and an art, and he treats everybody's work as though we're doing it to hang on our own wall. And he's a great hunter and good partner to be rocking and roll as we figure this next phase out in our life.
That's awesome. And you met him turkey hunting, is that right?
Literally. So at
Wow.
5 a.m. or it's probably maybe 6:30 in the morning, I guess it was. And I'm set up in a bush at the bottom of a hill and down in a local town here called Rabbit Hash, Kentucky. And I see this guy walking towards me, and the sun's coming up, and all these toms are gobbling up in the trees, and the hens are hackling, and he's walking through the woods, and I'm literally shooing him away, like, you're walking towards me. And I mean, to be fair, we were on one of our friends on his property. So, and he just didn't realize I was going to pick the best spot. And I guess he had opened there the prior decade, like every year in a row. That's where he opened up at. And I was sitting in a spot.
Hilarious.
Wow.
All right. Well, Kelllee, I want to thank you for sitting down with us here. And but just don't get up and leave now. We have a segment of these interviews that we call Woodhounded. And Dan, what do we do when we woodhound a interviewee?
We rapid fire questions at you, and all you need is a one-word response. One-word
Bring
answer.
Bring it on, boys. Bring it on.
Okay. As to the best of your ability, one word. And Dan, if you want to get the stopwatch ready.
Yes, 1 second here. We will turn on the clock. All right.
And
are you ready?
Go.
All right. What car did you take your driver's test in?
Diesel Dasher.
What is your favorite chainsaw? Crickets.
MS-211.
What is your favorite fast food restaurant?
Chick-fil-A.
Where is your dream vacation?
Alaska.
Do you believe in UFOs?
No.
What is your
Yes.
favorite band?
Kid Rock.
What is your favorite firewood species?
Hedge apple.
I was not expecting an Osage Orange reply to that. That just speaks highly to you here as an outdoors person. Yeah. Okay. Where would you rather go? I think I already know the answer to this one, Dan. To a truck pull or a symphony orchestra?
Truck pull.
Who is your favorite historical figure?
Lincoln.
And what is your favorite sports team?
Wildcats.
Kentucky Wildcats.
And there we go.
And
nice job. Nice job.
Okay.
And my
Kelllee-
son is not going to be happy because I'm supposed to say the Cardinals.
Oh, boy.
We are officially a split home.
Oh, wow.
Kelley, you have survived the woodhounding experience, so congratulations to that.
Yes, nice work on the answers.
But none of my answers were like one word though, and so I was stumbling.
That is the challenge.
2 words. Kid Rock.
Yeah.
2 words. And
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Hedge apple. 2 words.
You were just in violation of the rules here. But that's what makes you so special, and that's probably what makes Chain Locker a success. So Dan, let's all thank Kelllee Miller for coming out here and spending some time with us and allowing all of our listeners to get to know her and the Chain Locker better.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Kelley. It was great meeting you, and thanks for being here on the Woodhounds podcast, the #1 firewood podcast in the world.
That's right. And Dan, I'm serious. I don't want to get corny here or anything, but look at the position that we found ourselves in with meeting people like Kelley and her husband Scott and the Chain Locker. And I just hope that we can keep this going and bring this type of entertainment and information to all of the people out there that support this podcast.
So Kelley, once again, thank you very much. Great meeting you.
Likewise. Thank you both.
Thank you, Kelley. All right, Dan. Well, what do you say? Let's strike up the band and let's get out of here.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you back here each and every week, 5 a.m. Eastern, Wednesday mornings. Tune in to the Woodhounds podcast.
And Kelley, you got one last duty here before we leave. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the Woodhounds podcast. And Dan, I want to tell you to be
safe.
And Kelley, have
a great day.